What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Popcorn Punchups, the only podcast you need for all your movie news and reviews. No.
You're allowed to say the old one. It's fine.
It's been a long day. I've only just realised that we're pretty much wearing almost identical jumpers.
Oh, no shit. So, just different colours.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. I got yellow, you got red. Everyone's happy.
How weird.
That was not coordinated.
This is my work jumper from my other job that I can't show the name of on the front.
This is from my other job.
Bet you're from the same place then. Yeah, look at
that. Yeah. So, craziness.
Literally. I literally never worn this before either, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I wear this every Sunday. Every Friday and Sunday.
Right.
Because, training and games. How good. I only just got home. So.
Fun.
Crazy. Yep. And then yesterday was a different team. But, yeah. And then it just keeps going. I don't know. It's busy. But what's been happening with you?
It's finally been more of a relaxed week. A little bit.
Ooh,
finally, so I've got some time to play some Expedition 33. Game's good, man. I know you're playing
I'm aware.
Yeah. No, I'm telling the audience.
I told you about it.
I know. I'm telling the audience about it.
I'm just
Don't
making
get all
it aware.
gatekeepy and fucking hipster about it.
No, because normally when I recommend something, you guys are like, no, this isn't for us. And then all of a sudden I've told you about Game of the Year, and then one of our friends of the show who's very high and mighty on their little pedestal up there, which is Damo. I just need to make sure I have this over him and hold it there. I just want him to be aware. So,
sure.
So
yeah, it's just about finding time, which I know you have the same problem with as well, but it's good. Yep. It's very fun.
I beat the first boss recently.
Yep. At at the tree thing.
Yep. So now I'm in the tree house.
Yep.
The
world building's crazy. I can't believe how well they reveal things and all the little characters you meet and stuff along the way. The camp starts to flesh out. It's kind of like Baldur's Gate, where I actually haven't played that, so it's hard to make the comparison. But like over time, your camp gets bigger and bigger. You haven't got to Act 3 or anything. But you start to pick up people along the way, not just companions, but also like Randys and people who do things for you and stuff. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm pretty into it. I wouldn't have stopped playing if it wasn't for recording this.
Those time-consuming games are a thing of the past for me almost.
It's a lot of menus for you too. A lot of reading.
Yeah. I went in and upgraded some of my equipment and thingos. I got new weapons that I didn't realise. So.
Jesus. I spend more time in the menus than I do playing, I reckon.
I just beat the first boss with the basic weapons. Yeah.
It's all the different Pictos and Luminas and all that sort of stuff that you got to like synergize, and it's pretty insane. I've got 4 characters now, and it just gets more and more crazy. It's pretty crazy. The bloke was just bored, and he was like, "I'm going to make a game." I don't know much of the story behind it, to be honest.
Yeah, so the lead person that's created it, he was bored at Ubisoft and was like, "I'm going to make a game," and then. He started making it and then just picked people up along the way and found like the music was all from this person on SoundCloud, and it's just, I think it's made by like 30 people or something. Like it's pretty. Yeah,
that was a pretty small team. It's been like 6 years in the making or something, from my understanding.
Yeah. But imagine just being bored at work and you just make this like hit game.
I'm gonna make fucking Game of the Year while I'm bored at work.
Yeah.
And shit all over anything that fucking Ubisoft have done for years.
Ubisoft are in trouble, hey?
Yeah.
They're in trouble. But, oh well. Speaking of Game of the Year, a Game of the Year has just been confirmed that it is getting an A24 movie adaptation, which I'm very surprised about that it's going to. It is Elden Ring. So Alex Garland is helming the project. Alex, I don't know what he's done previously.
We watched Civil War that he did.
Oh yeah, that was
but he's like 28 Days Later and all sorts of stuff as well.
Oh, he was the writer for Men. That was a trippy as movie.
I didn't watch that one.
That was pretty crazy.
He worked on he worked on Devil May Cry, the game. Interesting.
Yeah.
Is he directing or writing, or what's his role in this?
He is directing it. So he's to direct the live action. It was, and there's that whole. Surely it's not real. Though, like Jack Black's been confirmed to be the.
Part of me fell for it. Part of me was like, "Fuck you, everybody! This is bullshit." I knew it was a joke, but there's also that part of you that's like, I would not be fucking surprised.
Right. I was like, I reckon it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a bait and switch and it actually is a thing. And they're like,
no, they better fucking not.
I bet they do. I honestly don't understand how they're gonna do this though. Like,
I'm very curious. Because the game doesn't really have a narrative. Like it's world building, and then you have a role to play in that world. There isn't necessarily like a plot to it.
Yeah, so I don't know how they're gonna show it.
Ditto.
But or like what class they're gonna show. Like what are they gonna be? Are they gonna be all classes, or is it gonna be just one?
Yeah.
It's going to be, was it Untarnished or something or other, or whatever it is, the one that's the hardest one to play where you get like all 0 stats or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like that. I'm just curious to see if the main character is going to be like faceless, or if it's going to be telling. It could also be telling the lore of like Margot and Godric and Melania and all that sort of, like, because the lore runs deep. So it could just be a story about the lore of like, you know, pre-tarnished, what happened before we come along as players. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm glad it's happening. I think A24 is really interesting as well, because they'll, you know, make it what it needs to be rather than try to make money.
Yeah, so who knows? I mean, with the name attached, it'll make money. Kind of like the next bit of movie news. Because it's got the name, we've got Avengers Doomsday and Secret War have been delayed until December 26th and 27th. So Doomsday isn't coming till December, and Secret Wars isn't coming till 2027.
All right. Sure.
So you get a little bit of time to catch up on.
Are they
Marvel.
both Marvel like Avengers things?
Yeah, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret War.
Okay.
So yeah. Doomsday sees the return of Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom.
Oh, yeah. Is that when they introduced the Fantastic Four as well?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, well, they've got their new movie coming out pretty soon.
The new Fantastic Four?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so the new Fantastic Four isn't Doomsday.
No. It's their own, and then the Doomsday is its own thing. But that'll be part of it.
Fantastic Four First Steps. Interesting.
Yep.
When?
I'm keen for it.
July.
June? July. Close.
25th of July. Now. No, it's not actually. There you go. I wasn't aware that I had two already in the works.
Yeah. They're kicking goals.
We'll see.
Let's keep rolling like a rock.
Rolling like a rock.
Which leads us into Dwayne Johnson, yeah, The Rock.
Oh, right.
He's this. See, segue.
Yep.
He's the star in a new A24 psychological thriller called Breakthrough.
Wow.
So, that's
I never expected someone like him. Now that he's the highest paid actor per movie in existence.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he really?
That's what we discovered when he did that. What was it called? Something One? Rogue One? Not Rogue One. What was it? The fucking reindeer movie that he did. The fucking Santa one.
Oh, Red One.
Red One.
Yeah.
He in that was the highest paid actor in any film ever, which we discussed back then.
Well, apparently this is being written by Zeke Goodman, who apparently wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer, So the Prime Video reboot and also the reboot of Cruel Intentions, which I've seen the thing.
Sure.
I've seen the thumbnail, but I haven't seen it. I enjoyed the Cruel Intentions.
Cruel Intentions is great.
And then so he's writing for it. So who knows?
Actually, I've been thinking at Cruel Intentions a lot. I don't know why. It's one of those movies that's been coming up in my sort of memory bank a little bit recently. Cruel Intentions. I want to rewatch it. I'm very surprised Dwayne Johnson is doing A24. I wonder if they're paying out the arse, or I wonder if he actually cares about making something a little bit more artistic.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? And then we've got a new Jurassic World Rebirth trailer, which is showing us some new dinosaurs. So I'm kind of interested. I'm kind of keen for it, as much as
could not give a shit.
Quite. Whoa, dinosaurs! As if you don't like dinosaurs.
Whoa, dinosaurs! I like dinosaurs, but Jurassic Park, it's.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Oh my god, I can't remember what it's called. The one with the hammer on its tail.
A hammerhead dinosaur.
The hammer on its tail. The Ankylosaurus.
Yeah, right.
It has like a big weight on its tail and it's swinging around and break people's necks with it. Well, break dinosaurs' necks with it. It's fucking cool.
Right. Yeah. Mine was always the Velociraptors until I found out they were just dramatized.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually like really small.
Yeah.
Because the ones in the movie are terrifying.
Of course.
And they're like so aggressive. And it's like they're so cool. And then I find out they're like tiny.
They are cool in the movie.
They are so cool in the movie.
Good girl.
And then T-Rex.
Yeah.
And they just come in and
yep. That's a good fucking T-Rex impression.
It's pretty good. I thought it was pretty
sorry
good.
For all the listeners out there. You gotta go watch the YouTube so you can see Reimann's T-Rex face. That should be the thumbnail.
What is that?
Awful.
I love dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs when I was a kid as well, yeah. I was super into them. The movies came out, I was losing my shit.
As a kid, I loved them as an adult.
That's right. You never really grew up.
Don't let the world change you, mate.
Dinosaurs are still sick.
Let the world change you.
No.
Be who you want to be.
That's fine. It's fine. I've nothing against dinosaurs. I just don't. The movies just don't do it for me anymore because they've just turned into action schlock.
Mate, live a little. Yeah. So, going on that one, this is an episode of Segways with not growing up. We have a live adaptation of a classic Disney hit. It is Lilo and...
Oh, we're into this now.
Oh, yeah. See, segue.
Gotcha.
Stitch. I was waiting for you to say Stitch, but you didn't.
Stitch.
You were stitching me up. Yeah.
Stitch.
There we go. So, it has just come out this week. Wednesday, Thursday, one of the days.
Usually Thursdays.
It has come out. We have the live adaptation about a lonely Hawaiian girl who befriends a runaway alien helping to mend their fragmented family. Boom, boom, boom. So they have made some changes on this one. So it doesn't run identical to the original.
Just also, give me a shot-for-shot identical remake. That's all I need.
Okay.
Just all I need. Just do the exact same shot-for-shot movie with actors. I'd be totally fine with it.
Okay. Well, we can see where you're going with this. Did you know in the original release and then also the Disney Plus release, they actually changed one of the scenes as well? So, you know, where Lilo is hiding and the sister is looking for her, and she like climbs up on top of the original was the dryer.
Oh,
and then she was hiding in the dryer.
Her in the dryer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they changed that to a cupboard. So the Disney Plus one shows the cupboard instead of the dryer.
Because kids are supposedly dumber now than they were in 2001, and they need to be told not to hide in in dryers.
Yeah, you don't do that.
I was 11 when it came out, and I never put myself in a fucking dryer.
Well, maybe if you were younger, you might. So
might have.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh, that famous death with all those kids in dryers.
PSA,
hundreds of them.
Well,
stupid.
So we are obviously telling a mostly identical retelling of Lilo and Stitch. Mostly. So obviously we are getting Stitch, who comes to Earth, and he is looking to cause chaos. Where originally he was made and created by they described him as like a screwball scientist, but in this one,
he was like a mad scientist.
But this one, he was like more of a genius one in this one, rather than just like super. Like,
he wasn't the original.
In the original, he was like, he was meant to be like, he was a screwball scientist, and people were like, oh, what's he going to come up with next? Where this one, they portrayed him more as like a.
Disagree. That was the same.
I don't think so.
Okay, fine. I'll prove you wrong later.
Ooh, right.
I obsessed over this movie as a kid. There's not many things I'm going to get wrong. I promise.
Whoa. How many times have you seen the original?
Dozens. Probably 50, maybe more. I watched it on repeat as a child.
Yeah, right.
when this movie came out, I watched it at the cinemas. I made a scrapbook. And I drew my own pictures in it and cut out stuff and cut out my movie ticket. And I was obsessed, genuinely obsessed with Lilo and Stitch when it first came out.
Wow. I did not know that.
Loved it.
This is something you have never told us.
Yeah. I grew up pretty quick.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you love about it? What was the moment when you
I fell in love with Stitch. I wanted my own Stitch so bad.
Did you have a dog growing up?
Yeah, but Stitch ain't a dog. Stitch can talk and has like emotional feelings and can carry things and but a dog, like, they're not humanized. Stitch is humanized. He's like a little friend.
Okay.
And credit where it's due, this gave me that same feeling with Stitch. I want my own Stitch so fucking bad.
Oh. Yeah, I think they definitely nailed Stitch. Stitch is very, very chaotic in this one. He is looking to cause havoc wherever he can. This time he's come in, he's looking for a bigger city, and then he realizes that he's on an island. Now, they did change something where I was reading it. They changed the location from the original to this one.
A different part of Hawaii.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly where, but apparently they made a deal of it when they were in the little car, and it realizes that as it pulls up, he's like, I love living on an island, and Stitch is like, no. Because they did it like a flashback to the scientists be going like, he's looking for civilization to go destroy. Yeah. But then they're like, oh, you're on an island.
Yeah, and he doesn't do well with water. That's like oh man, he's stuck. Yeah. Because if he went to like mainland US, he would supposedly fuck shit up.
Yeah. So why can't he swim? Like the whole time I was like, why can't you even like doggy paddle? Or like, is it like his bone density's too high, or his muscle density's too high, or he just gets paralyzed like any devil fruit users in one piece when they hit the water?
The Grand Councilwoman says something about his like density, and that his density increases in water.
Makes sense.
I forget the exact wording. But, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, obviously, Stitch has come down to Earth. We get our mad scientist and his sidekick, who pretty much, they stay as human form for majority of the film.
Which is so lame.
I'm surprised they stayed human for most of it. I was expecting a bit more, like, alienness.
I'm not surprised, because it's fucking cheap. It's way cheaper to get humans in front of a camera than it is to do CG Jumbo and Pleakley the whole way through. That's the only reason they did it. It's really lame, because in the original, part of like, I also hated the recharacterization as well. I'll get to that in a second. But part of what works with Jumbo and Pleakley is that because it's animated and there's a guy walking around with one eye and a guy walking around with 4 eyes or 6 eyes, whatever Jumbo has, and they look not even remotely human, but all the humans are just like, hey, how you going? Because they're in like disguise. And that's part of the comedy, is like how do humans think? Same with Stitch. Like the fact that everyone thinks it's a dog when it looks nothing like a dog works because it's animated, and we as an audience are like, oh, that's funny. Like that's part of the comedy. But just having Zach Galifianakis walk around as Jumba, he doesn't feel like Jumba. Where's his Eastern European accent for no reason? Like they're worried about being insensitive or some bullshit. Like he doesn't feel alien. Why has he got an American accent? He doesn't feel alien at all. Quickly was so boring. Those two characters were two of my biggest gripes, and no Gantu.
There were moments where I had a few laughs at Jumba and whatever these offsiders can Peakley. Yeah, like when they were chasing Stitch, and then all of a sudden he's like dragging the body. He's dragging Peakley across the road.
Yeah.
It's like, why has no one even noticed that he's just dragging this body? It's like,
I laughed at the line when it's on to BPM. He's like, "Get over yourself. I'm moving." Like, I laughed. Yeah, that's fine, but it wasn't Jumba. Like, it's just Zach Galifianakis, who I like, but not in this. He's so boring.
Yeah. Like this is probably one of the better adaptations, like after Snow White and a number of other ones. Like it still, I don't like a lot of their changes. Like there was a non-violent teleportation gun, which I don't think's in the original from memory. I haven't seen the original for a long time. Pretty sure that was new, but like that had some comical moments that was very conveniently written in so that they could use the fridge to be able to like stop
Squish Jumba,
the whole chase thing. Yeah. And like there was a number of things with the portal gun where they're like, no, you can't go there. And they used it to introduce who's the guy that has like the snow cone or the ice cream?
Oh, he's just meant to be a tourist, but in this he's not a tourist anymore for some reason.
Yeah, so like for whatever reason they included him so that it was like the snow cone or the ice cream or whatever it was falls to the ground, and you get that like sort of fish out of water, like what's just happened moment. Stitch was really good. I thought the emotional telling with Lilo and Stitch was good. I didn't get the same feeling with the sisters.
With Nani.
Yeah. Like Nani felt like it was just kind of thrown in there. Where, I don't know, in the original,
her whole story is so different. And the fact that, I mean, spoiler warning, but the fact at the end in this is when oh my God, I'm going on a huge rant. In the original, Nani's character journey is that she is thrust into responsibility. Her parents die. She doesn't want to split up the family. She's old enough to raise a kid, but is she responsible enough? Her entire character journey is trying to balance responsibility and chaos and finding a job and you know, having to put aside what she really wants in her life to put her responsibilities ahead of that. And then realizing over time what she really wants is her family, and her responsibilities become her wants and needs. In this, they do that a little bit, but in the end, the family, including some random character they added called Tutu, decide that she needs to be a marine biologist, and that in order to go pursue her dreams and give her life purpose, Lilo can go live with Tutu. Like, it completely changes. The whole thing is Ahana means family. And now they decide that more important than staying together as a family and being and learning responsibilities and embracing that life, her goals become external from Lilo, which is fine for a character, but not when that's the whole purpose of the fucking theming of the movie.
Yeah. So why do they want to always change these things? Is it like
I don't know,
for
man.
an easier runtime, or they're just like, oh, maybe we're trying to make it more modernized towards now, like, you know, go chase your dreams.
Some things,
dreams and aspirations.
Yeah, like maybe that's the only thing I can really think of is like, oh, they wanted to give Nani more purpose than just her purpose is Lilo. Like, she needs to follow her dreams as well, and that Lilo accepts the fact that her dreams can't just be her. Like, no, it's a children's movie. Keep it fucking simple. And Nani's purpose, like, in the end, she gets David in the original. She gets David. she realizes that having a boyfriend and having responsibility and having Lilo and Stitch makes her life wonderful. But in this, she doesn't get David. For some reason, they cut out the romance between David and Nani, which is fine, I guess. But when it's part of Nani's quote-unquote reward for her journey, and she doesn't get that in the end, instead she gets some random marine biology course. I don't know. I don't know why they change it. That to me makes no sense. The changes of having Jumba and Pleakley become humans instead, it's budget. I get it. It's really expensive to do CG. There's some reasoning behind it. I don't agree with it, but I understand their decision making. I don't understand Nani.
Puppets or like
put guys in suits.
Men in suit.
Yes. Oh my god. Imagine how good you could do a Jumba, fucking like not animatronic, but like a man in a suit. Pleakley, less so because he's all like skinny and spindly and got 3 legs, and you couldn't really do Pleakley in like a man in a suit, but you could do a puppet, like you said. You could do an animatronic.
Yeah,
and
I reckon that would have been cool.
Be more charming. But then you couldn't, like, I feel like if you did that with Stitch, you wouldn't have as much animation. Like you said earlier, Stitch was done right. I think the Grand Councilwoman looked great. I liked every scene she was in. I also love Hannah Waddingham, so, anything she's in, I'm going to love her. But Cobra Bubbles is completely different. He's like some old dude close to retirement who doesn't give a fuck. And yet he's wandering around like he has the same presence as Cobra. But Cobra's like this larger than life, almost fucking like pseudo god, fucking like, macho, whatever character he is in the original. And this is just some old CIA agent. And adding the woman who was like working for like childcare or whatever she was, or like the person who was trying to family affairs, right?
Yeah. Because
there's an animation in the original, there's a level of like funny goofiness to the relationship with Lilo and Nani. But then when you add a woman who's seeing this dysfunctional house, like, take away the kid. It feels really like, I don't know, live action for this. There's parts I really liked, but then there was parts that felt almost too grounded, and it makes you really question Lilo and Nani as a friend, as like a relationship. And it's like, I don't know if Nani is good for her, but the whole point of the first one is that Nani's perfect for her, and I don't fucking know.
Yeah. They also got rid of the big shark looking bloke.
Yeah, that's what I said, Gantu. Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know why.
I don't understand.
And then Jumbo for some reason becomes the bad guy.
Well, he would have been sick.
Yeah.
So
I love Gantu. But again, they're just like, money.
And then Tutu just felt like the wise old aunt who always knew everything. And she was
Why is she even added?
Super convenient that all of a sudden I'll drop this little bit of wisdom that you won't get yet, but then it will all come full circle, then you understand it.
Yeah. It just,
also,
I don't know why she existed.
Trying to get the same emotional feeling towards Lilo, because how she's like gets bullied and she's like pushing the other ones. That really did not hit for me. I was like, it felt forced. It was like, we just need to show this.
Yes,
like I would have. Yeah, all those scenes I could have done without, and you just have even the rage out when she was raging at Nani at the start, which was like, you're not my mom, etc. I was like, I don't know. And
again, because animation, there's a level of fun to everything animation does, especially that style they were doing. So those moments like that, it's still kind of silly. But in this, it feels really tragic.
Yeah, it just didn't quite hit the same. I still think this is probably one of the best.
It is, and there are parts I love.
Adaptations.
I still got emotional at the end scene where Stitch is being taken by the Grand Councilwoman, and he says which they didn't change. I'll get to some changes in lines in a second, which I think really matter. But they didn't change the lines at all when he says, my family is broken, but still good. Yeah, still good. That still got me. I got goosebumps right now thinking about it. That still got me. I got a little teary. The parts I loved. But there were some lines they changed. There's a line when Lilo first meets Stitch at the pound or whatever, and she has him, and she's trying to convince Nani that we need to adopt him. And she says the line, "He's perfect, I can tell." That's the original line. And in this one, she just says, "He's perfect." And I think the "I can tell" is so important for the fucking character, because it shows that Lilo isn't just picking something that's cute, not picking something that's just cuddly or whatever. She's picking something that is a little strange and a little broken and a little like different from everything else. And that she has empathy with things that are a little different, that stand out, just like she is. And that "I can tell," I think, has such a weight on your empathy for Lilo and Lilo's situation. You get rid of it and it changes the context. I know it's so little, but to me it's so big. There were certain times like that where when I watch the original now, I say the lines, you know what I mean? Like I can recite it with the show. And there are certain lines in this that I was saying with the show, with the movie, and they didn't say it. I was like, So the end one was good, finally.
Yeah. I'd have to watch the original again.
Sorry, I have like a list of things that they changed. I think completely changed the narrative. When Nani gets fired from the luau, in the original, it's because Stitch sees Pleakley and Stitch attacks Pleakley. In this one, Stitch is just fire twirling for no reason and starts a fire. And it changes how you view Stitch. In the original, he's misunderstood. No one knows that he's being hunted. No one knows that he's in danger. He's really defending himself. So it's that dramatic irony of what the audience knows versus what the characters know. But in this one, it's just Stitch's chaos, and then Stitch gets fired. And like, you go from Nani, like she gets mad at Stitch in the original and Lilo, and you're like, oh, she doesn't get it, you know, whatever. But in this one, you totally understand where she's coming from. She got fired because of him, because of Lilo. And like, you totally get why she's mad. And you shouldn't be mad at your fucking titular characters.
Yeah.
I've got a list.
Go. Get them all out.
I think they're the main ones that really got to me.
Yeah.
There were moments with the kid, with Maya Kealoha, the girl who played Lilo. And there are moments where she did really well, and I was super impressed at her as a child actor. But it's that same old thing when characters need to interact with the CGI thing that isn't really there. There's a bit of awkwardness. And there were moments like the gun, when they had, not the gun, but like the water spraying thing. That scene, she felt super awkward. But there were some scenes where she was great. So, I don't know. The lack of consistency was strange there too.
Yeah, I mean, this is her first one.
Yeah. But again, child actors are a product of good directors. I never think it's a child's fault for being a bad actor. And there were moments in this that I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. What do you think of the old beach montage? When you find me that one?
Beach montage?
Yeah, when they're like bonding. And it was like
surfing and stuff.
Surfing, and then where he's like destroying all the sandcastles and the...
Oh, it's cute. Anything with Stitch I had a good time with.
Okay.
Pretty much, except for the little changes that made you change the perspective of him, like I said, with like the luau and stuff. But every scene with Stitch was great. I thoroughly enjoyed the Stitch scenes. I think he was cute as fuck. He was fun. One of my favorite scenes in the original is when Lilo is sitting with like the chalkboard and she's got like the drawing of him and like, this is how bad you are, like the little meter. She does that in this too, which I think is a really cute scene. All I had to do is literally scene for scene, shot for shot, the exact same thing with CGI Jumba and CGI Pleakley and Gantu and all that shit. Even if you want to have a CGI Cobra Bubbles to make him larger than life, some big fucking macho man rather than some old washed up CIA agent. At that point, you might as well make a fucking animated film if you make everyone CG.
Yeah, look, I still enjoyed it though.
I didn't hate it.
Overall.
There are aspects that I hated, but when you compare it to the Aladdin remake, which I hated, the Lion King remake, which I hated, we both hated Little Mermaid. We both hated Snow White.
Mm-hmm.
What else have we watched that's coming out from live action Disney?
They're the only ones. And there was Scar as well, like the Lion King new one.
Sure. I didn't watch Mulan. Never got around to that. Beauty and the Beast I didn't watch.
Beauty and the Beast was up.
Dumbo I didn't bother.
I don't think I've seen the Dumbo one.
Does Cruella count? Cruella's pretty good. That's more of like a prequel.
Like a different retelling.
Yeah, it's not really the same. It's not a remake. It's like a prequel. Mulan I didn't watch. This is one of the better ones, but I think there are big changes that change the narrative in a negative way. So I had problems, but it's still not like I didn't get angry watching this like I did with Lion King.
The live action Moana one's not out yet, is it?
No.
2026.
Yeah. I'm at a 2.
Oh yeah. See, I'm not as passionate, so I was at a 3.
That's fair.
I was like, I still enjoyed it. I still think it was the best live action retelling that I've seen. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't think it's as good. It's not as good as the animation. So if you're going to watch something, the animation's the one
of course.
To go to.
But it's the one of these that I would happily watch again if I was, hey, kids I don't have, do you want to go watch a movie this weekend? Yeah, great. Let's go watch Lilo Stitch. It'd be fine.
Well then, let's move on to punishment week, and you're going to have to explain how you have found this film. Like, how'd you get to this?
This was a find. There's a website out there called What to Watch, or like, I think it used to call maybe the Netflix randomizer. There's a website I found once that you put in your region and you put in your streaming services, and it just picks a random movie for you. And this used to be on Netflix, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch this. And I put it on and had like the best trip ever. This is fucking awesome. First time I watched it, I watched the first time in 2020. I remember what year it was because my first year at my current site. And I told some old guy that I was working with who was like a big movie guy. I was like, holy shit, I watched this movie last night. It was crazy as, you should watch it. And then a couple days later he came back to me. He's like, dude, I watched that movie. And he was like in his 60s and he watched this and he was like, that was insane. I'm like, yeah, right? How good? So it's one of those movies that I try to recommend to people because it's unlike most things that you've ever seen.
I'll give you that. It is the most unique movie I've ever seen.
Exactly, right? And you're a better person for it.
Nope. So I started this pretty much the night after podcast from last week. And I've been watching this over 5 days because it just never ends.
Intentionally.
This film goes on and on and on and on. To the point where I came home Friday night after football training and I had 3 drinks, to the point where I started sending voice messages because I'm like, this thing is never ending, and I feel like I've been sitting here for 19 hours watching this same thing happen over and over and over again. And I'm going to attempt to explain this story, and Lawson is then going to correct me where I'm wrong, because
Go on, sorry.
After watching this film, it makes me question everything I've ever thought about you, to the point where I'm like, what is your browser history for so many different things?
But I don't understand how this makes you think of my browser history. What movie I enjoy? Like, if you think I watch this and get aroused, then sure. But this is not meant to be arousing. He's intentionally arousing because he's not human. So when he's watching all this stuff from the first person perspective, he's not arousing. He's not a human. He's but a set of eyes. It's not meant to be arousing. That's sort of the point.
There is some weird things going on in this whole...
There are some weird things going on, but it doesn't make it sexually arousing.
I don't know, it made me question you. But anyway.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, someone's defensive.
I'm defensive because that's not the point.
All right, well, this is about an American drug dealer living in Tokyo who's betrayed by his best friend and killed in a drug deal. His soul, observing the repercussions of his death, seeks resurrection. So, this is made by Graspneur, which...
Gaspar Noé.
Nope. So I even looked up some TikToks to this, and people were like, this is from the legendary director, because apparently all these other stuff's pretty cooked.
Yeah.
Is that wrong or is that correct?
I've watched Climax after I watched this.
Yeah.
All I've seen, I've heard Love is a nice, well, not nice, but is another one of his good, strange films. And he did Vortex a couple of years ago as well, which I've heard has done pretty well. But I haven't watched heaps of Gaspar Noé's films, no.
Okay. Look, there's no way I'm going to be watching more. See that?
Good job.
It's not great, but anyway. This has film festival written all over it. It has one of those alternative film festival releases that never sees
so
the light of day.
Naive.
Nope. So this is the whole, I'm going to call it first act, is shot from Oscar's perspective. So it's pretty much a point of view to the point where...
The whole film is from Oscar's perspective, but the first act is while he's alive, yes.
Yeah, like from his actual point of view, as in like it's shot in a point of view shot. Because when he starts walking around and he meets the other bloke, he becomes more of a third person rather than a actual like physical point of view.
No, until he dies, the whole film is from his eyes, literally his eyes, the blinking as well. Even when he's following Alex down the stairs and everything.
I can see the back of his head though.
You see the back of his head later when he's walking down the stairs with Alex, because that's from when after he's dead, so he's watching in the third person. But in the beginning...
Right, I had major trouble trying to sync up my blinking with his blinking because it annoyed the shit out of me the entire time. So
I found you got used to it, no?
No.
Wow.
I was like, all right, there's for the first part, it was like 4.5 seconds for every blink. And I was like, all right, trying to sync it up for the entirety of the time. And then every time it went, I was like, oh, and then it was so jarring.
Oh, you focused on the wrong things. Even the blinks, some of the blinks last longer than some blinks are like really quick and some are closed. Because even in real life, every now and then you'll close your eyes a bit when you blink for a little longer, or like, rub your eyes or squint a bit more.
Yeah, and I was like, every time it went, I was like, is my power going out? It was annoying me. It was like when the screens flashed, and I was like, oh my God, I just need to sync up this timing, and I couldn't.
Of course not.
So frustrating.
If you ever tried to sync your blink with anybody in real life, it'd be fucking impossible.
Yeah, but this was like forcing me for like 14 hours to try and sync up my blinking.
We'll talk about the length later, but yeah.
So like, this is problem number one, is that I couldn't sync up my blinking and it was jarring and I hated it.
Yep, that's a very Reimann thought.
Yeah. So I was trying to do this. My wife watched the first part because I explained that it was about him dying and then seeing it, and she was like, how does he die? I was like, I don't know, we've watched the same amount of movie. And then she was getting annoyed by the blinking too. I was getting annoyed because she was asking me the questions and I was trying to be like, well, I've seen the exact same amount as you. And then we were going around and we're like, what the hell is happening? And then every time we see this bloke through the point of view, even like the splash on the water and like on his face, and then we get the mirror scene.
It's just shot well.
It is shot well. There are scenes that go for a very, very long time.
Intentionally.
And my second problem is that anytime he was talking to someone And especially when they were moving, it felt like, I don't know if this was intentional, but it was so annoying. You know when you're trying to have a conversation with someone and they're either walking 5 meters in front of you, but they're not looking back, that you can't hear them, and they're talking that way. Like everything was muffled.
Yeah.
And then it was like you were talking to someone in a different room where you're just yelling across the house. Like it's so frustrating. I was like, what the hell is anyone saying? Like, why is everyone intentionally not looking at anyone when they're having a conversation?
Yeah.
What is happening?
Because they used one mic next to the camera, so everything was from the perspective, including audio from the perspective of the camera.
Yeah, but why are we intentionally walking away from the main character to have the conversation?
Turn subtitles on.
No. That's not point of view, is it?
It's true. Turn CV up.
Oh, mate, it just makes it more tinny and echoey. It's like being in 3 rooms down and having a yelling match to be trying to understand what someone's saying.
I don't think it was that bad.
Like,
I had no problems.
I tell my kids off when they're like, Dad, and I'm like, no, if you want me, come and talk to me. I'm not yelling across the house to try and have this conversation, understand what you want.
I had no problems understanding every conversation the characters were having.
No. I hated it. Maybe because I was already overstimulated because I was trying to sync up my blinking, and it felt
blinking.
like, and my power was going off
every 4.5 seconds.
Okay. No, that was like there was a that's problem number 2 is that everyone was walking away from the main character and it sounded like it was just so hard to hear anything.
Sure.
Yeah. So then we're off. We've met the character. I got to say his drug hiding spots were like pretty creative, where they've got the can and they hide him in the can. I was like, that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. That's a cool hiding spot. Like if you're getting raided and stuff. So it takes a little while. We're introduced to his mate, who's, I'm assuming he's French. He sounds French from what I could understand.
Pretty sure he's American.
Is he?
Alex?
Pretty sure is that the bloke that was like, oh, your sister?
Yeah.
There's no way he's American.
I don't know. I'm
Oscar's
trying to think back
American.
now. Oscar's American. Maybe he wasn't.
No, he was definitely like, he had an accent. He was like European of some description.
Maybe, yeah. They met in America though, because when we see in the flashback, Alex knew him before moving to Tokyo.
Yeah. But he definitely had an accent because he was like, your sister.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm stereotyping him.
I don't see race.
But, okay. I almost heard it. In between the blinks, so I don't know. So Oscar and his sister have a weird connection. Like I was almost confident that this film was about them two and incest.
Kind of
like
is.
It was. I was like, okay, that's bizarre. So the parents died. They went into foster care. They were like, we'll never leave each other. And then Linda gets taken away because they living with, who's the old lady? I couldn't work out if
that's
that
one
was,
of their grandparents.
Was
they don't
one
say
of their
whose mum
grandparents.
it is, but yeah, it's one of the grandparents.
Okay, so one of the grandparents, and then I couldn't gather why Linda got taken away.
They had to get fostered, so they both went to different homes. Linda just went first. That's all.
Yeah, so they get taken away, and then they get split, and then they get reunited. Oscar is in Tokyo, and then rings Linda, and he's like, yo, I've got a job now. I'm paying for your ticket. She comes out. Linda gets work as a stripper, or I'm assuming it's a stripper and it's not more, but...
It's a stripper, but she's sleeping with her boss for advantageous reasons, and...
Yeah. To the point where... You see the a lot of sex in it.
Yep, and it's real sex.
Is it really?
Yep.
There you go.
That's why I said watch this alone, because yeah, most of the sex scenes were actual intercourse.
There you go. I also thought that from my understandings of the classifications you weren't allowed to show an erect penis, and you're also not allowed to show any form of penetration, where that then takes you from R to X-rated.
Yeah, this is definitely X-rated.
Yeah, but when I looked up the rating, it is only R. which is I didn't understand. The R rating is for high impact sex and drug use.
So there's some pretty
references.
high impact sex, that's for sure.
Yeah, which I was like, I don't understand how that classification works on that aspect, but whatever. We then have we obviously are following Oscar. They are off to, I can't even remember exactly where, but he is also selling on the side. So he's got, was that his main job? He was just selling drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to the Void. That's the name of the bar they go to.
Yeah. So he's off to sell drugs to his best friend.
Yep.
I'm
Victor.
trying to remember what his name was. Victor.
Mm-hmm.
It's revealed later that Oscar is sleeping with Victor's mum.
Yep.
And then Victor finds out, and then I'm assuming it's because Oscar was sleeping with Victor's mum that Victor then turned him in. I'm assuming that was why. I couldn't quite piece together whether Victor got like caught with drugs and then was like, yo, I'm going to give you my supplier to be able to get out of it, or
I think it's
was
both. I think that he got caught and that he, made a deal with the police just based on his guilt and the interactions he'd had with the police. But I believe that he also was like, well, fuck him. He's fucking my mum.
Yeah, I couldn't quite piece together which one it was, whether it was either that way or that way. But for whatever reason, Victor has set Oscar up, and as we see him get in there, he sits down. It's real awkward, and then all of a sudden the cops come. Oscar runs to the toilet, and then he's like, "Yo, I've got a gun," while he's trying to flush all these drugs down the toilet. And then one of the cops shoots through the door. He dies, and that's when we get the outer body experience, where then we get to follow Oscar's time, what's it called, floating around as a outer body spirit, etc. And then
it's like he learns from the Tibetan Book of the Dead that Alex gives him.
Yeah. So
did you get all that?
I got the reference, but then also his mate, I can't even remember what was his mate's name.
Alex.
Alex, where they were talking about the because Oscar's always on about DMT.
DMT, yeah.
Yeah, and then they were talking about when he makes a line when they're walking, which went for a long time, about when you die or when you're on a trip or something or other. It goes for, was it 6 minutes? But it feels like
feels like a lifetime. Yep.
That's what I'm assuming they were implying what this was about.
That's why it feels so fucking long. They intentionally overdo shots and redo shots and show passage of time differently in this because they wanted the movie to feel like a fucking eternity. And that's exactly what they want. Yeah, exactly. And that's if they're trying to achieve that and they do, then that's a good thing. Because even watching this myself, this is probably the 4th or 5th time I've watched it, and even watching it myself, I was like, oh god, how long's left? Like I'm ready to move on to the next part of my day. But that's exactly the fucking point. Alex also says that DMT triggers the same part of your brain as what happens when you die. That's why death feels like an eternity as well. And he also says that what is something else? Oh, I forgot my train of thought then. I was thinking about the next thing I want to talk about. But yeah, please continue. I'm glad that you picked that up. That 6 minutes feels like an eternity.
Yeah. So once he dies, we then hover around and jump around to a number of different scenes. I felt like we followed Linda for a lot of it. Linda felt like that was, he was definitely drawn to Linda. We get,
because of the pact.
Seeing her live her life, sleep with her boss.
Yeah.
Could not work out if it was an abortion scene or it was like, it was?
Yep. Her boss knocks her up and then she has an abortion.
Which that took me by surprise because it was like, well, what is happening here? We've gone to just hovering over, just chilling out to like just an abortion scene. I was like, oh my God, this is...
And then seeing the little like fetus in the petri dish.
Yeah, I was like, geez, all right.
Yeah.
We get cuts back to the crash a number of times, and the what's called where Linda gets taken away. We see that a couple of times. We get to see those looking after each other, Oscar and Linda as youngins looking after each other.
Yeah.
We get a lot of...
They make a pact that they'll always support each other, always be by each other's side. Yeah. Which is why in the afterlife he spends his time looking after Linda. Well, looking over her anyway.
And then Linda ends up actually having a child. I couldn't work out if that was like Oscar's child, because I was so... There was a whole...
No, it's Alex's.
Towards the end.
You literally see Alex
Alex's.
ejaculate inside of her from the perspective of inside the vagina.
Oh, that's what it was. Because after this, the whole last part of the film, there was just... It was like one sex scene after the other with glowing genitals, and I was like, what is happening here? And then I lost track of who was who, because everything was glowing, and there was just sexual act after sexual act, and I was like, this is insane. I was like, why is everything glowing? And then we got a full, like, it reminded me of teaching like sex ed, where you have the thing on the screen, you know, where you show like, this is the vagina, this is the penis, and then it ejaculates in there, and then it was like, I'm surprised they didn't show the sperm swimming up to the egg and impregnating the egg.
They did.
I was like, they did the whole time?
They did. Not the whole time, but right at the end they showed like a close-up of a big egg and a tiny little sperm trying to like bump its way in. They do show that.
Yeah.
But you were like 3 drinks in by then.
3 drinks in, and I think I was sending voice memos.
I want to read yours out later as well when we get through this.
Yeah, so, you know, it's a very unique experience. I was like, this is so bizarre.
Yeah, that's why I went for it, because it is a very unique experience. It's like nothing else. Even the rest of his movies, I've only seen one other one, but from what I hear, this is like a standout for him really pushing the boundary of like experimenting with what you can do for a movie and how you can make an audience feel. Like, it's very rare that they intentionally make it feel like it's way longer than it is by dragging out shots and repeating things. And but yeah, the whole thing is trauma and the trauma bond between him and his sister as well, which I think is really heavy. The death, when he dies, and it's all his internal voice saying like, oh my God, I've been shot. Oh my God, is that my blood? Like, that sends chills down my spine every time I watch it. That I hate watching that scene, because it's like coming to terms with your own death while you're dying is such like a surreal thing. And I feel like they did it so well. Like, yes, its point of view perspective helps, but it's I don't know. I feel like it's all go through your head when you've been shot. Like, you wouldn't believe it's real. And to look down and see your own blood and like, oh my God, I'm dying, like on the bathroom floor. And yeah, that shit gets me emotional. Not like, I'm not going to sit there and weep, but it was, I find it hard to watch every time.
Yeah. I was just clicked on the IMDb trivia. Apparently most of the dialogue was improvised by the cast.
Yeah, that's right.
Apparently Gasper started out, he didn't understand English very much, so he needed someone to help him if what the cast was saying sounded good or not. That is so bizarre.
They also intentionally use, like, the voices are layered and sort of ethereal in the flashbacks, except for the car accident, his sister being taken away, any of the like trauma scenes. Because if you think back to moments in your life, the clearest moments in your life are the traumatic ones. The ones that you have no problem remembering are the ones that like aren't necessarily positive memories. Sometimes positive memories as well, but this is not about a positive life.
Apparently the first premiere of this film was the Cannes Film Festival in 2009, and apparently it wasn't even finished.
Oh, they showed it unfinished. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
I love that this, like a movie where you spend most of your time in the afterlife. I love that it isn't about the beauty of life and death, or it isn't really about life and death. It's about life and how through our experiences, especially as like, you know, children, the only calm we really get, like, you know, being an adult's fucking hectic or whatever, you know, life's full on. Being a child is where you're meant to be calm, but if your childhood is traumatic, it just fucks you up. Like these two, you know, not a huge big thing, but being in a car accident where your parents are like mutilated, being split from your child, you know, your sister as well, and it's not like it's a childhood from the Middle East or whatever where things go worse, but it's just like these two people are so fucked up and so bonded through trauma that there is a bit of weird incest, and there's a whole thing about how people are in love with their mums, and Alex talks about how the reason he smokes is because it reminds me of sucking on his mother's teat as a child. There's a lot of like weird layers, and you're meant to feel uncomfortable. The whole incest stuff is there to make you be like, ugh, I don't get it.
It made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
the whole time. Also, apparently what's his name, Gasper.
Gasper.
He, instead of the usual 24 frames per second, he intentionally did it at 25 frames per second. So the original cut apparently is 154 minutes at 25 frames per second. Or when they did a re-release where it was the standard 24, it runs for 161. And they reckon the first showing, the film got a 15-minute standing ovation. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. No one stood for 15 minutes clapping. Get out of it. Whoever wrote this is ridiculous. No one stood for 15 minutes.
It's so unique though, dude.
No one stood for 15 minutes clapping. I don't care how unique a film is. No one's standing for 15 minutes clapping.
What's that thing with Joaquin Phoenix and someone, they clap for like 30 minutes something?
Yeah, no one's
that was.
That.
I know, it seems insane.
There's like what? There's one or two people that are standing there. It's not people are leaving. Get out of town. But they can't even think they're blinking up. Bet you they were like,
no, because you weren't meant to. It's not the goal.
I bet it was like subliminal messaging or something around it. Kind of like Bioshock, where it was like, would you kindly? It was like, it blinks with like Morse code in your brain. We're like, you like this film.
Enjoy it. You will like it. You will love it.
Bet you that's what it is.
I love this movie.
No.
It's so weird.
It's so bizarre. It runs for 2 hours and 41 minutes.
No, 2 hours 17, I thought.
2 hours and 41 minutes.
No.
It's the official runtime.
No. IMDb says 2:22.
My IMDb says 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Well, underneath the title at the top.
It says Enter the Void. I'll take a picture now.
Yeah, please do. I'll show you my screenshot as well.
2 hours and 41 minutes.
That's so weird because I'm literally on the same page. Here, look. I sent you a screenshot, my bad. Hold on. I'll do it this way instead. I'll do it the way you did so people can see it at home.
What? Why is this different? Why is yours different? Is mine the 24 frames? Is mine the 24 frames per second? Yours is 25, so yours is quicker. I watched the long version because it felt like forever.
We watched the same version. We watched it on the same service. We watched the same version.
I feel like I watched the other version where it was.
I swear mine last night said, I'm gonna go on our service right now. I swear it was 2 hours 17.
Probably was, but why does this one say 2 hours and 24 and yours says 2:22?
I don't know. Ours wasn't 2:40. And you watched it in 5 sittings.
Yeah, I did. Because it went forever.
Yeah. I was going to ask you a question about it. I forgot what I was going to say.
The transition between like locations and stuff, like lots of it felt like it was shot in one take.
The whole thing's meant to feel like it's one take. I think they did that so well. 217
was it like Adolescence or whatever it was called, like where that was all one take. He reminded me of that, where it was just from like the thing to thing, whatever it was, A to B with no cuts.
Whereas Adolescence was actually one take, where this used like blinks to cut between and whatever.
Yeah. Also, I love the transitions. This baited me hard too. How? There was a point where it was like it faded to black. I'm like, it's over. And then nothing happened. I was like, yes. And then for some reason, everything came back into view. I was like, I wanted to cry.
I think that's almost also like a intention made to feel like a drug experience, because sometimes you write it out, and you're like, hey, it's over, and then it comes back.
Oh, like I thought it was over.
I love the DMT sequence at the beginning when he smokes on his couch or his bed or whatever, and just goes into like this trippy ethereal space, and like I don't know how they filmed it. I never looked that up, but it's really cool.
Yeah. Look, it's the most unique film I've ever seen.
You're welcome. And that's the point. That's why I want you to watch it.
Would I watch it again? No. No.
I will. This is the first time I watched it sober. And it was harder to sit through, I think.
Yeah.
I also love how jarring, talking about trauma as well, how jarring the car accidents were every time. Every time you saw them, it freaked you the fuck out. Like it was so, I was having it to you pretty loud, I guess.
Oh, really? I had no issue with that. No issue whatsoever. I had issue with the blinking. And the conversations where everyone was walking away from you. I hated it. That was jarring. The car accidents were fun.
Jarring, like shocking, like a jump scare, I mean.
Oh, no. Yeah, every blink was like a jump scare.
But like, I love how so many things reminded him of that trauma. Like trauma, PTSD is you could just be living your life and all of a sudden something reminds, like he's on a roller coaster and being on a roller coaster reminded him of the car accident. And he was in the car with his friend and that reminded him of a car accident. Like all these little things, you know, he's living with PTSD, obviously untreated. And all these little things kept bringing up the car accident again. And even the afterlife where he's trying to look after his sister and whatever, he's just constantly reminded of his trauma.
Did he have any impact as a spirit or whatever? Like,
no.
Did he shape anything?
No, not until his rebirth.
So he did get reincarnated. That was the whole thing.
Like, yeah. At the end, he is his sister's child. At the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he actually is. And
then he becomes just like the beginning. He was sort of. There's a whole thing about your mother's nipple all the way through, and he was super. Whether he was ever sexually attracted to his mother is never really explained, but there's a bit of that. So now he's with his sister is his mum, so it's kind of like restarting the loop. And he's the firstborn, so we are meant to believe that she's going to have another kid, a daughter, and he yet again will have another sister that he's incestuously infatuated with, and that's sort of the loop that Alex talks about of life and death. And that we're sort of, and that the scary part of it all is that we're cursed to repeat the same things and have the same traumas repeated and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Is that what a lot of because my algorithm is pretty weird on the old TikTok where they talk about the soul contracts where like you continually go into your rebirth and then this is what you enter in your soul contract and then you have to then experience it and learn on this cycle.
I'm not sure about if the Tibetan Book of the Dead talks about learning. It talks about one thing they talk about. I don't know the Tibetan Book of the Dead outside of this movie, but Alex explains in this movie that when you die, you're forced to relive all your mistakes and relive your life, and only sort of the negative sides of it, really, and re-experience all the horrors in your life and whatever. And the only way to break that loop and that death cycle is to be reborn, but then when you're reborn into the same mistakes anyway. But I'm not sure about a contract and things like that. That's not really explained.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right.
Anyway, let's give it a number, wrap this up. For me, it's a 4.5. I love this movie. The only reason it's not a 5 is it's a hard watch, you know, and it's not for everyone, but I think that it's super artistic. The fact that you can watch it and we can have big discussions about it, even if you hated it. That's what art is, you know? You put red on a canvas and splash some blue on it and people call that art. Well, why is that art? Well, if you discuss it, it's art.
I saw during the week someone sold a invisible statue for $18,000.
That's insane.
And they didn't ship it. The picture was of nothing, and they sent him a certificate of authentication or whatever. Yeah, for $18,000. The person got nothing.
No,
that bloke just made that person just got $18,000 for a certificate.
Yeah, for a certificate that says they have invisible statue.
Yeah,
that's art.
Yeah, who has $18,000 to spend on that?
Art collectors.
No,
that's art, man. I'll just tell you. That's the whole point of art.
It's not art. It's like the banana sticky duct taped onto the wall. Mm-hmm. No, it's not. No, who sits there and goes, yeah, that's sick? You can't even eat the banana because then it's just like the most expensive banana ever.
But art is about interpretation and discussion, and the fact that we're talking about it and arguing about it being art or not makes it art. I'm sorry.
No. No, you're all wankers.
You're all wankers.
It's a 2. It's a 2. That's
more than I thought. I think we're like it's 1. Fuck it. Fuck you.
No, it's shot well.
It's gorgeous.
Besides the blinking and the uncomfortableness and the everyone walking away from me to have a conversation, it is a very unique experience. But I struggled hard with it, and it went forever. If that's the intention, I don't care. It went for a very long time. Like you could have done this in 45 minutes, and probably, it would have been. You edit this down. You probably got a reasonable story about like trauma and stuff. But I guess no, because it's art. It's not the intention. It's going to be whatever. Just move on with your life. Get rid of the blinking.
Get rid of the blinking.
Let me understand what is happening. Because my God, just stop it.
And it's not told in order as well, which you would hate.
Yeah, and also if you have epilepsy, please.
Oh yeah, big epilepsy warning on this one. Literally, the opening credits is just like with like sound and everything. It's just a huge overstimulation.
Was it Simpsons? I kept getting the Simpsons episode or whatever it was where it was. They're
in Tokyo.
Yeah, and it was like the thing comes in. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or the Hypnotoad from Futurama.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of that.
So I got those random references, but you know, it's weird. I'm glad it's over because it went for a long time.
So good. You're welcome. And that's actual punishment because her wasn't really a punishment. This was an actual punishment because I knew you wouldn't enjoy
it. No. Well, you know what to do after that note. If you're on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. Apple Podcast as well. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and do your best dinosaur impersonation. Send it in. I don't know where you can send it, but send it in.
Yep.
Yep.
Upload to YouTube and put a link in the comments.
Yeah. We'll just put. Can you put images in there? No. Join the Discord.
Not on YouTube. No.
Put it in there. See us live every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 Australian Central Standard Time. And tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Tell them all.
And we'll see you guys next time. Boys.
Love yous.